Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to a live Q&A on this Thursday. Excited to have you guys here. We had two questions last week that came up after live Q&A, so I'm going to address those here now and then address the one question we got today. Actually, I'm going to address that one right now. I can't actually speak to that because that would violate my own terms of engagement and service in the group. So, unfortunately, Nicole, I can't answer your question. But for the other, hi Wendy Lou, but for the other two questions, the first one was, how does one come to feel a sense of belonging with one's self? So this gets us into the realm of awareness. Like I spoke about yesterday, it's becoming sensitive to our own energy, our own presence, okay? To belong with oneself means to receive oneself as we are, rather than try to control or manipulate ourselves or shape ourselves into a version of ourselves that isn't congruent or in alignment with ourselves. And so one comes to feel a sense of belonging with oneself by receiving, accepting, and approving of oneself as they are. Okay? That means you become positive and warm and loving towards the kind of personality you have, the kind of things you enjoy doing, the energy you embody, the limitations you have. You become more kind and receptive to your emotions, to your needs, to your wants, to your likes, to your dislikes. You become more compassionate on your failures and your mistakes. And you realize that you don't have to be an ideal person to be loved. You deserve love regardless. Okay? We're worth knowing, loving, and keeping for who we are, for the fact that we exist. That's it. Innate value, innate worth comes from our existence. It doesn't come from earning it from someone else. There isn't some kind of transactional love we need to earn from the universe or God or from another person or even from ourselves. We need to exit that and move into a place of receiving and embracing who we are just as we are. That can be difficult because we'll have judgments about ourselves, we'll have shame about ourselves, we'll have that ideal fantasy we think we should be. We'll fear that people will discard us, they won't love us, they won't want us. These are all, valid things for us to face, but that's really what the healing path is about. It's to shed the internalization of this, to give up making these kinds of things important so that we can make contact with who we are beyond that. That's one reason why I call our community Beyond Codependency, because we can't, healing is about moving beyond where we're at. It's about discovery that we don't need to be a certain way, okay? That really we can trust in ourselves and our own value and make connection with our energy and our sense of beingness, our presence here. And in that comes brilliance, this innate awareness about what works for us, about what doesn't, about what we would like to receive, what kind of experiences we'd like to create and choose in our life. Because it's about us choosing us first and letting others choose what they will for themselves. Because codependency has that reversed. Codependency asks, how do I fit them? This model says, how do they fit me? How do they add up to my happiness? Where do they belong in my world? And that's the healthy, appropriate model because it allows us to flourish and it allows others to receive their path in the nature they're going to receive it. Sometimes that's really difficult things, especially if we're dealing with alcoholics, or drug addicts, or dealing with a narcissist, or, we're letting people get the brunt of their choices. They need consequence because consequence is their teacher. It's what brings them an opportunity to change. We get in the way of that, we're inhibiting their ability to grow. We're also not investing within inside ourselves and our own happiness. All right. So ultimately, coming back to feeling a sense of belonging with oneself is to become warm to who you are, loving to who you are, and being willing to receive yourself just as you are. Okay? All right. Second question is, and there wasn't a lot of detail on this question, so I'm going to ask you to give me a little more detail. But I'll take a shot at it here. It's basically sounds like your partner's son is actively interfering with your relationship. And if he has narcissistic tendencies, then he's probably absorbing a lot of the attention, making it about himself, right? Me. Playing the victim, not taking accountability, not taking care of himself, things like that. And if that's shut down communication, like you indicate it has, if the topic of the son has become very black and white and polarized with your partner, then we need to step back and look at the real need in the relationship, your need and your partner's need. Begin discovering what's going on around those needs. Because fundamentally, conflict typically breaks down to, I have a need, and I don't know how to get it met, and I'm scared to bring it up and be vulnerable, so I'm going to get defensive or something. So if we get really into the need about what's going on, then we can have discussions about what the boundaries should be with the son, what would be appropriate. If the son's an adult, then maybe he needs to go out and get a job and start moving on with his life, that kind of things. Adult children ought not be living at home unless they're, a serious circumstance for the child, or they're going through something that's pretty legitimate. But a lot of times narcissistic children want to feed off their parents, and they guilt their parents into it by bringing up things the parents may have done wrong in the past. Sorry, Charlie, you're an adult. Time to go out, grow up, take on your life. So, but you're going to want to be, you got to break down the wall that's built up between you and your spouse and that communication, or your partner, and start trying to hear each other. And that can be a complex process. So I would, there are different kinds of communication techniques. One's called nonviolent communication that can help in that, but that's a long-term approach. Short-term approach is a process I call REACH, and I will post that in the group, and I'll tag you in that so you can see what that process is, and then give you some guidance there. So those are the only 2 questions we got this week, guys. It's definitely the end of July, beginning of August is when we start to get swamped with either vacation or getting kids ready for school, that kind of thing. So it doesn't surprise me. I appreciate you guys being a part of the community. Feel free to share your questions, post your experiences, ask for guidance. Get out there and share your story. A lot of us are introverts. A lot of us are shy. I'll talk a bit about that. Introversion and shyness are not the same thing. Period. They are fundamentally not the same thing. Introversion is about social energy, and shyness is about a fear of being revealed, exposed, or embarrassed. So, if you're shy, take a leap. Let yourself be seen. Let's get to know you. Let's see what your story is. And find out, discover for yourself that you actually aren't alone in this, and that your story matters, and that who you are matters. What you've gone through matters. Okay, guys, I appreciate you, and I will see you guys next week for next week's training, and also tomorrow with Marshall's Minute. You guys have a good evening, and see you soon. Bye-bye.